Yesterday, Trenton Briley broke through, a first-time winner in the iRacing National Short Course Series. But today, the second part of the doubleheader, it's full focus on 1 point at the front of the championship. Welcome along to Crandon, to the big house, where we're bound to see plenty of championship excitement. So glad you can join us here on RaceBot TV on the iRacing Short Course channels. Arjuna Kankipati joined alongside by the voice of off-road Dave Arnold. And Dave, yesterday we had a ball, but it all really sets us up for today, and I'm quite excited about what lies ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yesterday did not disappoint, but Crandon short course gets exciting. It's like being in a bull ring in an off-road short course.
And of course, we've got a bull ring coming up next week in some ways when we make our way over to what will be the final of the Triple Crown races to set ourselves up for the championship showdown, to return here to the big house, but albeit with the slightly longer layout. One thing that Dave, you reminded me yesterday that we are going to get to see both today and on May the 15th that makes Crandon so distinctive, though, the Land Rush 10 Wide Star.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's nothing like the Land Rush. And of course, that's what Crandon's famous for. 100 miles an hour into that Forest County Potawatomi turn number 1. Never disappoints.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how they navigate their way through. Of course, Briley striking through and grabbing his first victory. It was also the first time this season that a driver not named Luke Knupp or Connor Barry was able to make their way to victory lane. And so we take a look at the championship standings where, as mentioned, 1 point between Barry and Knupp, going to be very, very close between them. But there's championship fights up and down through the storyboards, Dave. And you look at Dane Culver, Zachary Drapkin, Keaton Swain, 3 points between them. And O'Briley knocking on their door, further 9 points back in the hunt for third in the championship.
Oh, yeah, this is a crazy one. And I'll tell you, watching, Connor Barry, Luke Knupp, the only winners we've had so far, then Trenton Briley comes out swinging and takes that win. So that's the exciting part of what I'm really seeing. Can he keep that momentum going in tonight?
And Keaton Swain in particular, he actually got a penalty post-race yesterday that dropped him down. So he might actually have ended up third in the points. He's got a real fight, though, going right now, and I think we're going to see that continue. Talk about the format, though, because today we return to 6-lap heat, 4 laps LCQs, and we'll have a couple of races in each of them, and drivers advance directly then through to the main event from the heat, hoping not to go through the mad scramble of an LCQ. We'll have 18 trucks in the 18-lap main event, and the competition caution to fly at the end of lap number 8 will allow a couple of drivers, maybe if they have struggles at the start, to return to the lead lap. And, well, yesterday, Dave, we saw that Connor Barry, the one that needed that helping hand to be returned to the tail end of the lead lap.
Oh, yeah, Connor Barry really struggled. He had some problem. We saw him going to the pits twice. Really didn't get that truck completely fixed. He still fought his way in the back, and I have a feeling that might be a throwaway round for him.
And of course, 2 drop rounds in the championship. Most importantly, though, that drop round cannot be the final round. Means the math a little bit easier for the poor commentators trying to figure it all out. It's time for qualifying, though, and one thing that we've been just made aware of is late laps in qualifying. It's a very short lap here, the Crandon short course, as opposed to the long. So 42.6 right now, your provisional pole time for Keaton Swain, but he's sitting in pit lane and has a couple more chances still left to go. He might not elect to wait to do that until he's waited and everyone else has maybe set a time. We're still waiting for likes of Connor Barry, Jacob Rafoss, Oliver Golding, Zachary Drapkin, Crystal King, and yesterday's race winner Trenton Briley to get onto the board.
Yeah, and you mentioned Crystal King there. Of course, she was running in that second position for a long, dropped back to third. Unfortunately, had a little bit of bobble, but I'm expecting some great things about, from her for sure. And we're watching Plumley right now as he's in his qualifying spot right now. A little bit of miscalculation there. Oh, actually, it was the end of his lap. But he ran a good race out there, and he was fighting his way. But so many of these other riders. Tyson Miller is another one I want to keep an eye on tonight.
Yeah, he had a great qualifying effort yesterday as well. Was up there in, what was it, third, as here comes Drapkin to the line of 42.9. Going to see him into what was 13th, but young Jacob Rafoss up to the top and with a bit of a margin, 1/10 back to Keaton Swain. And this is what we kind of see. Drivers go one lap at a time. Thad Countryman, one of the few drivers, Dave, that's continuing to circle around and accumulate some lap times.
And we didn't see Thad yesterday. He was absent, wasn't he? I did not see him throw any times down.
I think you're right. Of course, the schedule changed up a couple of times this season, so we're quite appreciative of the drivers for being willing to stick with us. Let's ride on board, though, with Cody Retzlaff as he gets a qualifying lap underway. And Dave, this is where the drivers, through the short layout, Connor Barry up to second on the board, hook it through the left instead of going through the regular long lap.
Yeah, that's, the thing. It's crazy about this one. Just thinking they're coming around again. Yeah, that's so great, though. As you can see, they're going past the skybox here. This is where they head into the gravel pit. This is a great shot of how this track's laid out. Big left-hand sweeper, 180 degrees, brings them over here. And then you got the little pop it off there, the Polaris Razor jump. And it's going to bring you right to the finish line in Calamity Corner.
And a corner quite aptly named, Luke Knupp up to 4th. Remember, there are 5 points for pole position here in the session, so that's why drivers want to try and improve. Cody Retzlaff seemed like a tidy enough lap, but it's only 12th on the board for him, and don't know if there's too many drivers still circulating out there right now and looking to try and improve. There is Cody Vanderveer in one of the Racecraft Academy cars, but I think full focus for the time being on Keaton Swain, who, again, penalty post-race yesterday dropped him down, but last couple of rounds he's been fighting there at the very front.
Yeah, that's for sure, and of course that's where you want to be, is fighting for the front there as we go on board here with Keaton Swain, and he's going to be coming out swinging, especially after you talked about that penalty, dropped him down a little bit, and the tight race now for third place with Culver, Drapkin, and of course Swain, only a couple points separating those guys. And man, this is getting crazy. We thought this was going to be like, all right, Knupp might just run away with it, or Barry's going to run away with it. Oh no, these guys are coming for him.
You saw that Keaton Swain bailed from that attempt, by the way, didn't want to cross the line and tick on over to the next lap, so clearly wasn't going to improve, has saved himself one more attempt. Tyson Miller, I think, is getting underway for what might be his final hot lap as he hooks it through the left and back down towards this section that I quite like, and just how long it is. You're having to set the car up in the air so many times because you're hopping the car over a couple of different jumps. It is maybe not as flowing as Bark River, but it's still one of those tracks that has a slightly different style than a bull ring traditionally. Short layout, slightly different, of course. Tyson Miller needs to try and find a quarter of a second. Times at the front, really, really close here today.
And don't forget, that's the Terminator out there, as we figured it out yesterday. So awesome, Tyson Miller. Seeing that we're trying to figure out his paint scheme yesterday, and I think it was Josh Edmondson filling in as the Terminator for us.
Terminator up to 5th, and so he will not be back to set another time. I think he has the chance to go for this lap, but doesn't seem as though trucks have been set up to go for 2 flying laps. Crystal King, love the helmet, by the way. It's just that yellow emoji smiley face sort of thing going on in the Shenandoah Shine machine. I've just noticed the mud flaps off the back as well as she sets up for another lap, goes up to 9th on the board. Female driver, watch out. If anything, people need to be aware of who she's trying to pass, Dave. We found that out yesterday.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, she really hung in there. I mean, it's crazy in racing. I mean, one little mistake just could change a podium up in a blink of an eye. We saw that happen, but she still finished really strong. As we see, strong drivers who had a rough one yesterday. Connor Berry, so he's got his General Tire cap on there. Of course, General Tire, his big sponsor, and those tires are just gripping around this short course.
Don't think we'll talk as much today about Blue Groove as we did yesterday, but as you ride with Connor Barry, don't know if this is his final lap in qualifying, but he looks quite calm. Good qualifying effort though yesterday. Didn't it was only 6th on the board or so, but for a driver that tends to want to be up towards the front, he will try and improve. His Nitro Circus Sim Racing teammate of Jacob Rafoss is up in the mix as well. How happy is he going to look, though, as he crosses the line? Not that happy. I think that's mainly because even though it was an improvement in time, 42.584, Dave, he only improved by 1,000th of a second.
Oh, yeah, if we could read lips there, boy, I could imagine what was being said. A little frustrated. He knew it, but that's his teammate, so he can't be that bummed.
No, that's a good point, and of course we'll divvy the cars up into the respective heats as well. Just Nathan Matoxin that we watch now, who's done with the qualifying attempts, just getting some final practice under their belt. So Jacob Rafoss has another lap time still left to run. I think the same is true of that Purple Plum machine that's going to be hunting from what is 12th right now. You can see him working around the track. I think Dane Culver, Luke Knupp, so we're not totally done with the session just yet.
No, not at all. And of course, looks like Nick Dachelet has a great qualifying in 5th position. Not sure if he has any more runs left, but decently set. And, Dane Culver, he's right up there. I talk about another young driver that has really shown gains from last year to this year, and that's another one there. Crystal King, Dane Culver, those are the ones really sticking out in my mind to keep an eye on.
I've enjoyed as well. I've only joined the short course series this year, but I've been watching over the last couple of years, of course, watching for some of the drivers to see how they'll build up for the Off-Road Championship Series. We've seen a lot of development, but it's not necessarily in some ways seen the breakout. Yesterday for Trenton Briley was that opportunity. Now who else is going to pick up the baton and swing from there? Jacob Rafoss to the line, and would you believe it, he's improved by another 1,000th. So the margin back to Connor Barry restored at 74 thousandths of a second.
That is just literally the blink of an eye there that they just, go. But Jacob, he's a great driver. I got to tell you, that kid has figured that Crandon out. We've seen him have some good success here too.
Yeah, he was a bit of a devil when I first met Jacob in the rallycross days. A bit of a devil in that he was so quick but also so young that some drivers didn't quite know what to do with him. And so it's been interesting to see how he's matured, continuing to develop as well. And this is a type of racing that, I'm sure there's some you carry across from the rallycross cars, but I'm not sure he would have watched much of Dave growing up. So he's kind of been learning courtesy of the sim.
Yeah, there's not much of, short course con where he lives. It's kind of crazy. This is truly an American sport in the short course. We see a lot of, desert racing around the world and other stuff, but I think rally racing is what you talked about is one of the most geographically widespread sports in the world.
Yeah, and even in parts of Scandinavia and stuff, you can go folk racing relatively affordably, and I've always wished that I'd have the chance to do that. I've done lemons racing in the US, which I guess is about the closest that we can get.
Same here.
It's a lot of fun. But I want to go racing on the dirt. Slightly different experience. Ready to go for the first of 3 heats, 4 drivers to advance, and Jacob Rafoss and Dane Culver. It's going to be an exciting battle between them. But Luke Knupp, Crystal King, Thad Countryman, and then Oliver Golding roll alongside with Dennis Mickelson, Brent Smith, and Nathan Matoxin. Again, as mentioned slightly earlier on, the beauty of being here at Crandon is that we'll have a land rush start. And so 9 drivers qualified, but all effectively on one row. That's not to say, Dave, that they're all starting on an even playing field. It's a very bumpy run as they work their way onto the regular racing surface, especially here in the short layout of Crandon, because on iRacing, they didn't fill in all of the gaps.
That's for sure there. And looking at this lineup there, it's just crazy. And, you can see Jacob, he's right on that pole. But look where Knupp is. I always say second and third on that position, it seems like it's a sweet spot. you got to be really quick on the throttle when you have that pole position because they're all coming for you. And that's why I think second and third usually have a cleaner run. They have less of a arc to try and turn the vehicle. It's more of a straight shot.
Just waiting now for the drivers to get their command. Remember, 9 enter, 4 move on forward, and only 6 laps of racing here, so under about 5 minutes or so for each of these heats, and then we'll send them off down into the LCQs. We invert the grid technically for the main event, top 8 invert, but when it comes to the fact that we have the land rush start maybe going to be a little less important, they'll all still be on the front row. They're ready to go, have been given the instructions from race control, and land rush start 9 wide. We're racing here at the big house for the round 8 in the iRacing Short Course National Series. It's a great start from Jacob Rafoss, a bit of bullying further behind, and as they bang doors 3 wide in the background, running back onto the surface that they'll run for the rest of the 6 or so laps. Rafoss leads at the front. Culver getting squeezed by Luke Knupp, who gets turned, and drama once again for a championship contender.
Yeah, it looks like Countryman gave a little tap there to Knupp from behind. May have been a little bit of a factor, but the amazing thing, Rafoss, he just literally kept it going right through the inside. He didn't lift at all. Dane Culver stayed in that position, but unfortunately, you know, seeing Luke and Thad get tied up there, Crystal King also got tied up in that too. Brent Smith, I think he's the one that made out the best, coming all the way from the outside into 3rd position.
Oh, I tell you, Luke Knupp's not having a fun time right now, getting absolutely bullied by the rest of the field, almost drops to the tail end, but he fights now with Dennis Mickelson as they wind their way around. Officially have started now lap number 1. The quirk of being here at Crandon is you run your way all around until you get to Calamity Corner. You haven't crossed the start-finish line, so almost 7 laps of racing these drivers have to work their way through. Dane Culver going to fight at the front and get past Jacob Rafoss, and a bit of a statement for the rest of the evening.
Dane Culver's knuckles up racing right there. You can see the knuckles on top of that steering wheel sawing away there as Rafoss tries to get to the inside of him. Culver, he'll be set up going into this left-hander coming around sweeping. And look at that. Rafoss right back.
There's a little bit of battling, of course, through the field, but it's the transfer spot where the drivers are a bit more worried. I tell you that Jacob Rafoss not willing to sit down and let Dane Culver run away with the lead. Is it going to allow Crystal King, Brent Smith, and Oliver Golding to close up? Luke Knupp's been able to reassert himself into 6th position. Will wind back around with 2 laps complete, and he's got a task on his hands now to get forward into those front 4 spots. A bit of a slip up behind.
Yeah, it's going to get a little bit thick through there as they go out that Polaris Razor jump into Calamity Corner. You can see Knupp keeps on looking to the inside. And it looks like OG, Oliver Golding, was trying to keep a little bit tight there, keeping him honest. Not able to do it. Looks like he's actually slid back just a little bit more from there.
Our camera's going a bit funky with the shortcut right now as the drivers work their way through, but you can just see how much they are fighting. It's allowed King just to close that little bit in the fight for the transfer spot. It is Golding that's now got the pressure from Luke Knupp, his Team Gold machine on the inside, shedding some of that fiberglass as well. Halfway through this time by, and Luke Knupp now up to 5th, working on the back of Brent Smith.
And that was a tough one there. I know he was getting tied up there with Thad Countryman and Oliver Golding. Oliver Golding, who had a qualifying spot earlier. Oh, Knupp! He has to do a little correction, goes around the long way, and Golding able to get back by him, slipping back Luke Knupp to that 6th position there.
It's showing that you can definitely fight here at the Crandon short course, and there's a bit of an internet blip for one of the drivers, and that's now Claw going to send Oliver Golding around and into the stanchion and down to the back of the field. It means Luke Knupp up to 5th, takes the fight to Brent Smith.
And Brent Smith, though, he's going to get a little tough. He's going to get that truck as wide as he can, try and block all those lines as possible there. The 45 machine, it's teal and white. You can see the multicolored unit there, Luke Knupp trying to hunt him down. As they come off that razor jump into Calamity Corner, Brent keeps that nose right down on the inside because Luke, if he sees daylight, he will take advantage of you.
And these 3 at the front now know that with 2 laps to go, their spot's relatively secure, you'd have to assume. It's more for Brent Smith that you've got the concern. And there's so much fiberglass that's being thrown around on the car. It's going to be a bit of a staple, I'm guessing, today. Dave, none of these races particularly long, and you get a fresh truck effectively the next time you go racing. Drivers willing to be physical.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Just like in real life, those fenders come off. They got another one. They get those clips on, pop another fender, a hood on. Looks like a new truck. Just more souvenirs for the fans out there.
And again, I'd still need to try and get some of these fiberglass panels for my own collection, especially if they're just giving them away rather than auctioning them off around the outside. That's bold. That's bold from Luke Knupp, but a championship contender knows he doesn't want to go to an LCQ. Brent Smith bullies him back down. Thad Countryman up the inside. One more lap to go. Three-way fight for the final transfer spot.
Oh, this is just absolutely crazy. If you look at this, they're like too wide. Countryman now goes to that fourth position. Now Knupp up to fifth. Knupp goes up the inside, and he's into a qualifying position now. He goes around that left-hander. He sweeps it down. Smith looking low once again as we see Countryman trying to give it a run. He's going to get by him. But it's Knupp now in that qualifying spot, trying to stay away from that LCQ.
Calamity corner. I think Knupp had enough of an advantage, and so Rafos, Culver King, and Luke Knupp advance. What drama here in the first of the heats. And, well, that is the sign of a championship driver being able to fight their way back through adversity and Dave rise through it and make their way to the main event.
Oh, man, that was talk about fighting there. A lot of fiberglass, and they fought their way. And I'll tell you, Rafos didn't disappoint, though. Fast qualifier on top of the box.
And there's the official race results. Remember, yesterday he had a bit of an issue in the heat that saw him slip out of a transfer spot right at the run to the line. This time, no such dramas in front of Culver, King, and Knupp. And for Brent Smith, Nathan Matoxin, for Thad Countryman, Oliver Golding, and Dennis Mickelson. Some fighting still left for them in one of those 4-lap LCQs. Connor Barry leads us away, and after seeing how much Luke Knupp had to fight, he will be trying to grab 2 points for winning heat number 2. He'll be alongside Nicholas Dashley, with Cody Winicki jumping into the top 10 in the championship third. Sean Winkler alongside Zachary Drapkin, and then Cody Retzlaff 5th and 6th positions, with Brock Smith, Taylor Vandenbush, and Cole Fisher rounding out the 9-truck field. And again, we will send them 9 wide off into the opening corner. Saw Jacob Rafos get a very good jump. We'll see if Connor Barry can do the same. And again, one thing that I guess we didn't really talk too much about, Dave, before heat number 1, the fact that the drivers have to wrap all the way around the track before they really get the first lap underway.
Yeah, that's one thing you love about the Land Rush. It's a long run to even get that green flag to start this off. But like you said, it's almost doing 7 laps. 7
full laps of racing. It gives us a bit of a freebie there, and I'm so glad that we don't have the rolling start that I had the one time I did have to commentate. I say have to. I got to commentate on a race here at the Crandon short course, just waiting for race control to give the drivers their instructions to focus up towards the lights, and we'll be ready to go. Barry on the inside. On the outside, it's going to be the 55 of Cole Fisher. 18 trucks will make it to the main event, of course, so we'll stack them up 2 rows deep. And that should be plenty fascinating. Saw plenty of fighting as well, and I'm hoping, expecting a bit of the same once again. Drivers have been given their instructions. They'll rev their engines, 900 horsepower at their disposal, and away we go once more. Barry on the inside, not with the greatest of launches, but as they start to hop, skip, and jump on the way down into what is turn 5 on the regular track, he slides his way to the lead. Bit of argy-bargy behind, sees Nicholas Dashley hold on to second, but Zachary Drapkin, red line all 56, around the outside and challenging for second.
And talk about red line, and he is on the red line as he tries to keep the speed on the outside. Connor Barry has that inside line blocked up. If he's smart, he's going to be able to take advantage of Dashley getting held up a little bit. Oh, man. Dashley giving a little bump and run, trying to Connor Barry there. And Drapkin takes advantage.
Oh, this is incredible, and a reminder we haven't got around to start the first official lap of racing. Barry on the inside, going to take none of this, slides his way on forward, back to the race lead. Drapkin to second as we take a look at both of those drivers. It's a bit of an issue behind as we come over the jump. That's going to see a bit of madness on the timing tower, but we are starting to see a bit of a breakaway. Exactly what these drivers at the front, Dave, would want to see.
And Dashley is not backing off. You're correct there. They want to see this going on. Outside in is the move there from Drapkin, trying to get that position back. You got a little catbird seat bit looking back here, and Cole Fisher in that 5th position there just outside the bubble. Sean Winkler holding on to that last qualifying position as Dashley takes that 2nd spot away. But Drapkin's not done with this. He's going to go the long way around here, hoping to have that inside line coming up, trying to block it, but he's going to move out. take it away. He's going to try and block Winkler.
Cody Winicki past Cole Fisher, and so that's him now closer to fighting for the transfer spot as he closes up little by little. End of lap 2 next time by. Wrap around the long left-hander. This is where you've got to be so attuned to the behavior of your truck and how it balances itself out. Barry starting to break away, stretch his legs, does not want to be looking in the rearview mirror because you can see the slide jobs being thrown. Winicki almost into the quarter panel of Winkler, back down towards the line. Not side by side between Dashley and Drapkin, but there comes a look from the red line, all 56.
And I tell you, Barry's getting a lot of help back there with Dashley and Drapkin battling, slowing him down just a little bit there. See Drapkin now off the pace. That's going to allow Dashley to try and break away. And we'll see a little pressure there from Winkler now on Drapkin, trying to get up in his draft.
Let's look at focus on Cole Fisher's face. Of course, we saw yesterday that for Sean Winkler, he really had a fun time in one of his LCQ races, and even if it didn't go his way, big smile on his face, really enjoyed that experience in VR. This a bit more tense though right now, because yesterday we did kind of see a bit of stale heat races, if we can be totally honest, Dave. This, a lot more electric.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is close quarters. This is only a couple laps. It's a short course. Happens so fast. You got to get in the other guy's face. You got to sometimes almost force him into a mistake. Show him a wheel, and then go for the pass. Just keep him guessing.
See on the start, Drapkin made up those handful of positions. Winicki, the one that really lost out. And so I think you talk about being on the red line. Drapkin just able to go through the gears, maybe had a better run through the bumps as well. That just gave him that advantage, something just to keep an eye on as we head off into the handful of LCQs we've got left and one more heat before we get to the main event, because we'll have some drivers that start on the second row that will be at somewhat of a disadvantage. I'm guessing, Dave, that they're going to have to be a little bit smart. They can't afford to go barreling into the opening corner.
Well, you got to wonder, if the guys in front, if somebody makes a mistake, it can cause a lot of problems with that back row. But they're going to be right on the gas there. There's going to be a lot of trucks going through turn 1.
Yep, 18 of them, and we'll have the competition caution to stack them back up. Connor Barry got caught out on our start yesterday at Bark River. No fault of his own necessarily, just caught on the outside and a little bit pinched, and that really cost him big. He's broken away though, and 2 points will go his way if he can hold on to this victory, and 2 valuable points, knowing that just one singular point split him from Luke Knupp. Luke Knupp had to fight his way back into an LCQ. Connor Barry started off tonight a little bit calmer, Dave, exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, that's for sure. Luke Knupp didn't get the results that he was expecting. But the good thing is he doesn't have to go to the LCQ. He's going to be, he made it all the way up there. Talk about squeaking it out.
And in fact, if I'm trying to figure out how we'll do the invert for the top 8, but he may end up being on the inside of the front row, where we've of course seen already twice on these starts drivers convert to the lead through the opening corner. Now that was Drapkin very wide and almost doing a Ross Chastain style move on the wall. But I guess it works okay in these machines. It hasn't been banned just yet, and we'll wrap around towards the line. See Connor Barry back on top, and after drama yesterday for the championship leader, there's a smile on the face and some relief as well. Victory in heat number 2. Dashley, Drapkin and Winkler slot in behind.
Yeah, I can tell. I think I just read his lips. He goes, "That's how it's done."
And from flag to flag, dominant victory. You say that's how it's done, Connor. I say, how do we get some lessons from you? Look at the results as we get ready for the drivers to get gridded up for the third of our heats. Remember, it's fast racing here in the world of iRacing short course national competition. And Barry 1.3 odd seconds clear from the factory SimSport machine of Dashley at the line. Drapkin on the start does enough to fight his way forward, and Winkler gets that final transfer spot. He's fighting with the likes of Cody Winicki in the championship. Winicki going to have to go into one of those LCQs with Retzlaff, Fisher, Smith, Brock Smith that is, and Taylor Vanden Bush, the rest of the 9 machines that we saw at the start. Ready to go for the final of the heat, and only 8 trucks will get gridded up, and it's going to be Keaton Swain and Tyson Miller on the front row. Trenton Briley, winner yesterday alongside Christopher Plumley on row number 2. It'll be Cody Vanderveer, Matthew Lindy, and then behind them, Cross Kirchmeier and Cameron McGijic. And excuse me when I say behind, what I mean is to the left-hand side, because once again, we're going to be 8 wide off into the opening corner.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I mean, these guys, there's nothing, there is nothing better than a land rush start. It's just so exciting. to really get on the gas. Everything we have is rolling starts. Here, you get to see the reaction of how they get with the green light to make it to the green flag, and they got to keep it on all four wheels.
Oh, yeah, they've got to make sure they do that. Haven't seen a flip just yet, but count on seeing at least one before the evening is done and dusted, maybe when we go into those 4-lap LCQs. This, though, still 6 laps of racing. The 4 drivers to advance, and I can tell you race control's been, of course, taking a look. A couple of machines have had a couple of warnings go their way for contact. We'll see if that plays their part in the LCQs. Race control can actually change who advances on forward, but the lights will build, the engines will rev once again, and we'll send 8 trucks into battle for make it forward to the 18-lap main event that lies ahead. Pretty equal on the launch. Keaton Swain in that SimCoach's factory SimSport car on the inside maybe has the flattest run. You can see he didn't go in the air, and that's what lets him slide through and down into the opening corner out front. Bit of sliding and contact at the back is going to see 2 trucks drop off, but Swain leads from Tyson Miller, almost cattywampus though into turn number 2.
And here comes Trenton Briley on the inside there, trying to get up on the inside of Tyson Miller. You can see, of course, Christopher Plumley back there. He's holding on to that last qualifying position with Cross Kirchmeier, Cody Vanderveer, Matthew Lindy, and Cameron McGishik. And I'll tell you, look at this. Oh, boy. We could have a little momentum from yesterday. Trenton Briley trying to challenge right now for the top spot. A little bump there from Tyson Miller to Keaton Swain. And it looks like Trenton staying away from that.
Terminator gives not one but 2 shoves to 2 different drivers, and now back up the inside potentially of Briley. Look for Christopher Plumley, who we see in VR on the left. Of course, we were wondering about that sim room. Plenty of room around him, hoping no one distracts him if they wander their way on in. But you see Trenton Briley on the right-hand side. We saw the emotion after grabbing his first victory, he says, of any major type in short course competition since starting a handful of years ago. That will really buoy your energies and set you up nicely. But as we get ready to close up lap number 1 officially, remember we have to cross the line before we start the first lap. You can see how close they're staying. Cross Kirchmeier gets a little bit close to the back of Plumley and now gives up a bit of momentum.
Well, I'll tell you, finishing this race is going to be more important because I just got the word the invert is 2, not 8. So this is going to be insane. So the guys that won their feast race, the fastest races going into it, they're going to be sitting on the front row. They'll be switching positions. So everybody behind them, it's going to be how they finished and how fast they finished the race.
We've got 4 cars maybe opening up an advantage. Matthew Lindy fights with Cross Kirchmeier behind. You can see crossover moves coming between them as they fly down towards Calamity Corner, but the invert being 2 actually makes it quite fun in terms of who's going to end up getting the most momentum, because it would end up being the winner of Heat 2, Connor Barry. That should grab their way into that pole position and maybe that best run down into the opening corner. Big blocks being sent from behind as the drivers navigate their way back around. Lap 3 of 6 this time by, and Tyson Miller's got a full second behind in that final transfer spot.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough watching Tyson slip back and fighting back there, but I'll tell you, he's still in a good position there. He's got Plumley. We're been expecting to see him get up there and get qualified, but it's Keaton Swain out front. But Trent Briley, can he do a repeat again from yesterday, or can we get what would be a 4th winner possible? We've only had 3 total winners this whole series.
We haven't even had that many winners total in the history of the series. We had Crystal King also fighting at the front. What a story that would have been as well for her to grab her own first victory. Maybe that could still be repeated. As you mentioned as well, those drivers that maybe I haven't seen so much in the iRacing World Championship days, but have just continued to grow and evolve. And I'll just point this out as well. Dave, Luke Knupp and Zachary Drapkin, 2 of the quickest drivers in this series, didn't actually race in the World Championship. They were in what we had as an unofficial support series that was called the iRacing All-Stars. And guess what? They dominated and led at the front.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me right there. I mean, they're so fast. I think they would have done well in the World Championships for sure. As we go back on board with Tyson Miller, so you see Plumley just almost clipping that wall coming around, keeping that nose low, doesn't want to leave any daylight anywhere where Tyson can take an advantage of it. But I'll tell you, Christopher Plumley has his sights set on Trenton Briley as he tries to look up the inside, trying to show him a wheel. Briley stays on the gas, stays wide, high, wide, and handsome, as we like to say.
That's why I've struggled. I failed that last part. Briley looks quite calm. as he sees the camera. And that is something that I always find amazing, because I go back and look at some of the streams of when I used to race, and I was always so harried and just looking stressed, more stressed than maybe I would be in a day-to-day situation at work. It just looked like I was not having fun. These drivers, I'm not saying they're not having fun, but Dave, you can tell they're locked into this task at hand, and Briley's just got one more lap here to hold on to that second position and a slightly better starting spot in the main event.
Yeah, definitely. Were you one of the guys who kept his tongue out too?
No, I was the guy that was just talking all the time. That was my problem. All the stuff that came out of my mouth was not safe for broadcast.
Yeah, the amazing thing, as much as I talk about this racing and all that, when I raced, I was quiet. When they talk, you're still alive? They used to ask me. Yeah, leave me alone. I'm racing.
Oh, that is a famous quote if I've ever heard one. Keaton Swain is going to win, though, in this final of the heats. Advances along with Trenton Briley, Christopher Plumley, and Tyson Miller. That ended up being a little bit more calm and sedate than we were expecting in some ways. Those behind tripping over one another and not allowing themselves the chance to fight into a main event spot. A quick look at the confirmed iRacing results, with Swain, Briley, Plumley, and Miller all separated by only around 2.3 seconds, and for Factory Simsport, they will be very delighted. 3 of their drivers all moving forward. Matthew Lindy, Cross Kirchmeier, Cody Vanderveer, and then Cameron McGijic, the unfortunate drivers that have it still all left to do in one of our LCQs that comes up just ahead of us. Don't go anywhere here, though. On RaceSpot TV, we've got those LCQs coming up next. Well, the big house never disappoints, and the heat races were full of plenty of action here at the 8th round of the iRacing Short Course National Series. Just the LCQs left to go, and the drivers are gridded up 7 wide with just a handful of spots on the line and plenty to fight for in terms of championship. Welcome back to RaceSpot TV and to the iRacing Short Course channels. Arjuna Kankipati alongside with the voice of off-road Dave Arnold. Let's take you down trackside to the starting grid. It's going to be Brent Smith, Matthew Lindy, and then Cody Retzlaff, Thad Countryman, Cody Vanderveer, Brock Smith, and then alongside Dennis Mickelson. 7 trucks rolling for 4 laps of racing. We've seen 6 laps so far. Dave, this is going to be even more action-packed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the LCQs, we've already seen the physicality we saw in Heat 1 and Heat 2. Heat 3, not as much there, but I think this LCQ, we're going to see some beating and banging going on.
and we haven't had a flip so far, at least on camera. Might change here today. There you can see the trucks lined up. Have seen so far on the inside, drivers seemingly have a little bit more of a less bumpy run. Will Brent Smith be able to take advantage and convert pole position into the lead? As off and away they are going to be sent. Flagman getting ready to launch these drivers once more. 900 horsepower at their disposal. All just for 4 laps of racing. Away we go, and pretty equal initially. Brent Smith, though, going to pinch Matthew Lindy as they begin to leap over the jumps. He'll hold on to the inside line, but watch them pivot down to the right and slide their momentum through. 3 wide and around the outside. That Countryman going to challenge for the lead.
It was incredible to see that burst of speed that Countryman had, because Brent Smith had a beautiful line coming out of that Forest County Potawatomi turn number 1 there, but Countryman able to slice and dice his way into that top position there. Lindy looking like he's trying to get a ride up the inside of him now, and Brent Smith getting caught up, and 4 wide behind him is our top 2 battle.
Remember, we still officially have not started the opening lap. Cody Vanderveer is going to drop down to the back. Got pushed wide over the jump. Calamity corner, the site of, well, you guessed it, some calamity. 2 cars, Lindy, Countryman trying to stretch away. Smith and Smith, Brock and Brent battling it out for that final transfer spot. And I think Dennis Mickelson from 7th spot's going to slide his way on forward and say, thank you very much. Let me work my way forward to 3rd.
And I'll tell you, Brock and Brent were trying to do the Wonder Twins powers activate there as they try to touch.
That is Smith, Brock Smith, that is, on the inside in that 46. Throws a big old slide job. They'll be almost 4 wide off of the corner down towards Calamity corner. Countryman and Lindy, they've run away. We're end lap number 1, still with 3 left to go. And I think realistically, Dave, we're fighting for just 1 spot between 5 drivers.
And it looks like Brock Smith right up the inside there. You can see Mickelson challenge him back. Little contact in the air. He's able to slide around as Brock Smith looks back to the inside there. Brent Smith getting tied up there with Cody Ratzliff just a little bit. Vanderveer just sitting back there watching it all unfold.
Don't be too scared about the fiberglass going flying, by the way. Not only do the tethers on these cars seem to be pretty good at keeping them attached to the trucks, they just rip them off and get new parts added if they go racing in the main event slightly later on. That is a great shot, though. Cody Retzlaff just absolutely sends Brock Smith out of the way, allows Mickelson to slightly open his advantage up. Cody Retzlaff now gets sent in the battle for 4th position, allows Mickelson to break away even more. 2 laps to go, it's all kicking off.
And Brent Smith now moves back to that 4th position. Brock Smith now to 5th, but it's Mickelson. But there's a nice little gap there. I'll tell you what, the Smith boys are going to have some time to have to make up there. Vanderbilt, and then you can see Cody Ratzliff. And I'll tell you, that move earlier fed him a door and was able to hold the pass. Unfortunately, Calamity Corner bit him.
Almost contact in the air as they throw the trucks down into the gravel pit. And well, that's not once but twice consecutive laps that Cody Retzlaff has dinged into the side of Brock Smith and decided to barge his way on through. Out through Calamity corner. I wonder if that was just a word from race control. Cody Retzlaff, I can confirm, has a black flag in the sim. 1 more lap to go. Race control slightly stymied this battle, but I think Mickelson, Lindy, and Countryman pretty settled in their spots in the main event.
Yeah, there's enough gap right now with the final lap, and there's just not enough track for for Brent Smith able to make his way back up in there. You see Vanderveer got by Brock Smith, but it's going to be Countryman, Lindy, and Mickelson as we look through the gravel pit, up and over the Polaris Leap, as they head into Calamity Corner for the last time here in the LCQ.
Confirmation, by the way, it was for the contact that Cody Retzlaff got that black flag, but no such dramas at the front. Team Gold's that Countryman. Great to see him here on RaceSpot TV. Advances along with Matthew Lindy, Dennis Mickelson, and that was just a taster of what's left to come. We've got 1 more of the LCQs and then 18 laps of action with 18 trucks on track, and the first time that we'll put more than 10 out onto the start and send them 2 rows deep on the Land Rush formation. Just waiting now for the results to be made official for the drivers then of the 2nd LCQ to get the instructions to go trackside and get ready to rumble But here's a look at the official race results for LCQ1. Countryman Lindy and Mikkelsen only split by 3 seconds after 4 laps of racing, but Van der Veers, the two Smiths, and Retzlaff watching on from the sidelines. And don't forget, we are not racing next week. They've got a week off to think about how they want to try and challenge for the last 2 rounds of the championship. LCQ2 is going to see Cody Winicki, Nathan Matoxen, Cross Kirchmeier, Cole Fisher, and then Oliver Golding, Cameron McGijic, and Taylor Vandenbush all alongside and ready to battle. Some strong names there. 3 drivers to move forward. I think the start is going to be really interesting, Dave, to see who gets off in the cleanest possible way.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be the incredible. It's always this land rush. So far, I mean, I think they made a liar out of me. That pole position has been so quick, and oftentimes in real life I've seen that middle positions being the sweet spot. But I'll tell you, these guys are hitting their marks, and I think you're right. Avoiding that bump has kept that power down on the ground and kept them forward.
I think what we are seeing is kind of what I was, on the start rather, is what I was alluding to with the track not being fully filled on in, and so I wonder if that is potentially part of the issue. Just correct myself, by the way. The week off, not next week. It's after that. So we are still racing next week. Lots of changes to the schedule. Again, very grateful for the drivers for making do with all of the changes and being here racing once again. Lights will build, engines rev, and LCQ2 is green. Cody Winicki on the inside got a pretty decent start. Don't know if Nathan Matoxen necessarily got such a good launch. Down into the opening corner they will slide. Winicki holds on. Oh, sideways already behind, and that's going to be Cole Fisher dropping to the very tail end of the running order. But remember, 3 to advance and pretty stable now for 6 trucks at the front.
And Winicki with a great run as he's got a little company right behind him there with Kirchmeier. Kirchmeier is going to stay right on his tail. But don't forget Nathan Matoxen there with a little bump there. Oh, got on the binders a little earlier, caused him to bunch up just a little bit.
This is still all in the fight there for the final transfer spot if you can avoid losing too much time. Oliver Golding has to be careful though because, well, I will argue that he slightly pushed his way into a transfer position and is now immediately been black flagged, I'm pretty sure, because he scored as 1 lap down. Our timing's going all over the place. Cole Fisher is the recipient of that, I think, potentially, as it just refreshes. So Oliver Golding has made his way on forward, but Race Control going to be taking a look and trying, Dave, to pick apart everything.
Well, the last couple rounds have been rather quiet here, and of course now this is the most we've seen in black flags all season long.
And I was telling Race Control yesterday, it's such a refreshing thing to see live Race Control in such a hectic series. They're having to make such quick decisions, turn the decisions around in such short order that the team behind the scenes does not have it easy, and so full credit to them. Cameron McGijic drops to the back now, so he's had a small issue of his own, but Nathan Matoxen left in the hot seat to put the pressure on to Oliver Golding, still only on the 2nd lap of 4.
And it looks like the Muffin Man there. We're on board there with Matoxen. I like the little Muffin Man on his front hood there. But Golding, you can see he's trying to come up on Kirchmeier. Matoxen trying to find his speed back here to get up there to try and challenge OG. As there we are. We're back to the course here.
It's great having cameras that decide to hide themselves behind the terrain. But the unique things about coming to Crandon Shore only occasionally. We'll see the white flag next time by, and all still with Cody Winicki leading at the very front of the field. Haven't heard anything from Race Control just yet, so I wonder if Nathan Matoxen is going to have to try and find his way on forward. He's not going to get the assist of the black flag. We saw not 1 but 2 being handed out in LCQ number 1.
Yeah, I say that's not that often they're due. They're very careful on it, but if they see something blatant, the stewards are definitely going to call it. And of course, the guys that are sitting in the box watching all this, they're experienced iRacers and actual real-life racers.
I will say, though, doing Race Control, least fun part of sim racing, and that's why for the IMSA Esports Championship, which I help manage behind the scenes, I do all the administrative stuff and then leave Race Control to someone else. It's a much smarter thing to do. 1 more lap to go, and I think Nathan Matoxen, the Muffin Man, not going to be able to make this pass stick. Oliver Golding just too far in front.
Gotta wonder, is that his senior picture there? He's all got that going on there. I think that's Cross Kirchmeier's senior picture too. But I digress. But back to the action there. It's rather uneventful so far we're seeing now with the top three. I mean, they're coming in here. Checker flag's going to come out. Winicki, Kirchmeier, Golding, Metoxen.
Simple. Not much to really discuss in the final laps there, and maybe what some of the drivers would have wanted to see, and I can confirm that the LCQ results have been made official. No changes from race control outside of the two black flags that we talked about in the first of those last chance races. A look at the results, and now 18 trucks get ready for 3 minutes of warm-up. A chance for those that advance from the heats to head back out onto the track, understand how it's evolved. A chance for Cody Winicki, Cross Kirchmeier, and Oliver Golding to just breathe and relax. Unfortunately, Nathan Metoxen, Taylor Vandenbush, Cole Fisher, and Cameron McGijic. We'll see them next week when we go racing for the final of our Triple Crown races. They'll be watching on, though, from the sidelines. You'll be watching here, though, on RaceSpot TV in a handful of moments' time when we get ready to go for the main event. Time for part two of the doubleheader to come to a head, and with championship stakes at hand, Conor Barry and Luke Knupp go ready to battle into the main event here at the Crandon International Raceway with full focus. Welcome back to RaceSpot TV, to the iRacing Short Course National channels for round 8. Main event racing, 18 laps lie ahead of us. Dave Arnold, the voice of off-road, alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati, as we get set to unleash the beast one more time. Let's run you down to the starting grid for one final time. And remember, an invert of the top two is going to see Conor Barry have potentially the best starting spot on the run down on the initial jump. He'll be alongside Jacob Rafoss, Keaton Swain, Dane Culver, Nicholas Dashalet, and Trenton Briley, all on the front row, as can be said for Crystal King, Zachary Drapkin, Christopher Plumley, and Luke Knupp. Championship rivals on either side of that front row. Sean Winkler then going to be on the inside of row 2. He may have a very good launch as well in that Racecraft 720. He'll have the Terminator directly alongside him. And then Thad Countryman, Cody Winicki, Matthew Lindy, Cross Kirchmeier, Dennis Mickelson, and Oliver Golding through the top 18, ready to battle. Dave, we've seen, I think, a relatively tame set of starts so far. I don't know why, but for the first time we get 2 rows ready to send out, and I'm a little bit tense. I feel there's something ready to brew into the opening corner.
And you know what I'm looking at right now is that Luke Knupp's on the outside, so he's still in the front row there. But his laps must not be that quick because they have him in 10th position. And he had, I know he was in 4th there. It's just kind of crazy. If he's going to have to get a good run there, I'll tell you, there's so much talent in that front row. Everybody in the back's going to have a tough time.
And one by one, they're all just going to pop their way down onto the grid. They've all now had the benefit of a couple of starts as well, so they will all have a bit of a sense for how this track is all going to race on the run down. We'll have the competition caution, end of lap number 8. Dave, what that means, if any championship contender ends up in trouble, needs to bring their truck down to pit lane to get repaired, they can be brought back onto the lead lap. However, from there, they'll only have, 10 laps of racing to find their way back to the front.
Yeah, and this is going to happen quick. I mean, we saw how fast those LCQs, even though this is a long start, these races are going to be a lot faster than you think. Of course, the comp caution is going to come out just before that halfway point where we re-rack, restack, and refire them again. So I always love this. The race within the race, and of course in this tight little bull ring here at Crandon Short, it's going to make for exciting racing. We saw some physicality in the first couple of heat races, and these are the guys in the front row that all be battling for that top spot.
And we'll be back here at Crandon, albeit on the long layout for the season finale. That round cannot be dropped in terms of championship points. We'll talk more about that as we work our way through, I'm sure, the rest of these 18 laps. Remember, comp caution, end of lap 8 will freeze and reset the field in some ways, but Connor Barry and Luke Knupp on either side of that front row will know just one thing is on their mind, leading down out of that opening corner. And here we go, 10 wide at Crandon, and what a beautiful sight it is. Connor Barry doesn't get a great launch. Jacob Rafoss, his Nitro Circus Sim Racing teammate, challenges him down into the opening corner. Luke Knupp very aggressive on the send, trying to roll his momentum around the outside, and it's worked in many ways. One truck, Oliver Golding, has flipped end over end, but the rest of the machines fly through the opening corner, and Connor Barry, Jacob Rafoss side by side up front.
Well, you said we haven't seen a flip yet. Well, there it is there, but we're watching the action up there. You see Dane Culver looking on the inside now, trying to work on Connor Barry just a little bit. But I'll tell you, there's so much talent there. Jacob Raffas and, of course, Keaton Swain in the 21. Raffas going to look to the inside of Swain as he tries to get up on the tail of Connor Barry. 3 wide, battling for second place.
Oh, this is remarkable stuff, and Keaton Swain's going to be the big loser. Jacob Raffas, though, a bit wider than I think he planned. Swain sends it back up the inside and fires his way on forward. Remember, timing will reset as they all finish what will effectively be the opening lap this time by. So ignore the fact that it says that Oliver Golding leads. Don't ignore the fact that Keaton Swain runs himself into the wall and Jacob Rafoss takes advantage up the inside.
And Luke Knupp looks down and dives to the inside of Drapkin, trying to get a position there. Swain, Drapkin, and Knupp now battling. Knupp able to get by Drapkin, trying to work on. Looks like Miller trying to move up there too. The 56 gets a bump from Plumley now. Keaton Swain now door to door with Luke Knupp.
We are seeing the aggression. We're not seeing fiberglass flying too much though, but officially now have seen the opening lap come into the close. And now Connor Barry officially marked with a 7/10 of a second lead, just going to slowly grow as there is the look at Dane Culver in the number 50 machine, just now putting the pressure on. Live championship points, let's see how that stacks up on the top right corner. What was one singular point coming into today, Dave, will open up slightly, 9 points heading into next week.
Yeah, that's going to really change things up here. Like we talked about, Luke Knupp has to have a good finish in every race. He's already had his 2 drop races, can't drop anymore. Every race counts for him. But as we watch the battle there on board with Keaton Swain, we can look at Knupp, and now we're going to go back looking from Dane Culver and Raffas.
And he's got
Culver. There's the tongue.
Exactly. You read my mind, Dave. Tongue sticking out. It's a sim racer thing. We all do it. He's got a great sim ring as well, though. He seems rather, ensconced in everything. It gives him a great sort of feeling, I'm sure, of being secure in the sim rig. Rafoss will try and make the move, though. This all allows Barry to break away. Field will get reset. Luke Knupp, what will he be thinking here? Camera hides our perspective. I think, Dave, he's thinking, let me get to second, and I'll fight with Connor Barry when the race restarts.
Yeah, definitely. You can see that Knupp was looking on the inside, and Culver just squeezed him out. Now with Raffas and Culver battling there, it's going to make it tough for Knupp. there's not usually 3 lines where you can make a pass on the outside.
This is great. This is amazing. And I've got to say, as much as Park River is my favorite of the tracks, this has already been just filled with more excitement than we had yesterday. Culver, race control, maybe looking at that as well. But up the inside, not just Swain, but Luke Knupp as well. Culver goes to second, 3 wide for third behind as they wrap round to Calamity Corner. We'll end lap number 4 halfway towards the competition caution being thrown.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane how close the racing is. There's no gapping out. They are not holding back one bit right now. Everybody's putting it down. And where is Connor Berry? Well, he's so far out front, we don't even get him in most of the camera shots. There was a glimpse of him as he just leaves it. Going back on board here, looks like...
Zachary Drapkin in his Redline All 56 machine. Got the fiberglass flying on the right front, and I think this is where we're just seeing the gravel pit be the place where drivers just send the truck in and expect a little bit of room to be given. We've seen Dennis Mickelson bring his machine to pit lane, so some are feeling the effects of this physical fighting.
Yeah, definitely, and showing Mickelson, I guess because he went in the pits before Golding, but Golding's still running out there, and you can see that fender flapping right there on our onboard.
Back out towards a long left-hander. We'll have 2 to go before the competition caution flies next time by. 5 laps complete. Connor Barry has built up a 2.5 second advantage. We talked a lot yesterday about drop rounds. It's a 10-round championship. Of the first 9 rounds, Dave, you're allowed to have 2 bad rounds, effectively, that you can then throw away from the calculations. Luke Knupp has missed 2 races already. Those are his drop rounds. Until yesterday, Connor Barry hadn't had a bad round. One of those drop rounds is now being used. He's still got some comfort, though, in that 2 races left after this. He can still have a bad run. In the penultimate round, he'll have to get it done, though, when we make our way back here to Crandon.
Yeah, there's no making mistakes, right? This is really, the pinnacle of the season. This is where the championships are really starting to run for him right there. See, the battle for second continues here with Swain and Culver. They've spaced out just a little bit. Now, the amazing thing, Tyson Miller, still trying to bump on Luke Knupp as Knupp back behind Raffis there.
And see how much chopping and changing we've had in terms of movers and shakers on the left side of the screen, partially, I think, affected by the land rush start. I didn't even realize that. Remember, Trenton Briley, Crystal King were fighting 1 and 2 at the front yesterday for most of the main event. Well, they're down in 14th and 15th positions. How quickly things can change. Momentum in short course racing so important, and that's something that we kind of track in the iRacing short course power rankings, Dave, that I was taking a look at yesterday on social media, of course, courtesy of the race victory. Trenton Briley takes a bit of a step upwards, might take a bit of a step backwards now as a result of today.
Well, Trenton was sitting back in that 16th. He's already up to 14th. Him and Crystal King have been battling it out there. Kind of shocked, and I was looking down going, where is Trenton? Oh, my goodness, he's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, and it goes to show, right, that you have that one good race. Now you have to try and make every race count, and it's why the results from Barry and Knupp in terms of their consistency have been so important. End of lap 8, competition caution is going to come out, and I don't think we will slow the cars down to a complete stop. Christopher Plumley's in pit lane 2 laps down, and I think officially out of the day. He had a technical issue. That was not, I think, courtesy of any damage. And so now we just roll around for a lap under pacing speed before we send our drivers once again, Dave. But at the front, Connor Barry suddenly has drivers directly behind him.
Yeah, it's something he wants to definitely put a little distance between them. But I'll tell you right now, Keaton Swain, Jacob Raffis, Luke Knupp are all coming from Dane Culver. I know they're going to go for Connor Barry, but they got to get by Dane Culver. The point is, Dane Culver could slow him up as they battle. If he tries to block some position, that could allow Connor to walk away with this.
And this is where Connor Barry on this restart, it is going to be single file. Fortunately, it's not going to be the land rush chaos, right? So he has control, has the ability to time when we jump, and he'll hope that in some ways he can maybe see his teammate, Nitro Circus sim racing teammate Jacob Raffos, get a decent launch as well. When we go back racing, if I do the math correctly, it'll be the end of lap 9, so that's 9 more laps of racing still left to go. If Connor Barry's allowed a chance to builder's advantage. He's not going to look back at the end of the day, is he, Dave? So that's where the danger comes for those behind.
Yeah, that's right. You're not driving by mirrors here. Of course, it's all spotters. They don't have mirrors in these things. So, you know, that's one thing about this. You got to drive forward and rely on your spotters.
A couple of drivers, I'm sure, a little bit tense, just relaxed and waiting to go for others, as word from race control is let's go racing once again. Barry, Culver, Swain, Rafos, Knupp. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. And you look at the point situation again, top right of your screen. If we were to finish as we are right now, that's an 11-point advantage for Connor Barry. So it would be even more of a swing. Luke Knupp dropping back a little bit in the running order compared to the last time we talked about that situation. But here we go, 9 more laps of racing. And here at the big house, Connor Barry keeps them waiting for quite a while. I think we still have to go down in towards the restart zone potentially, and so just waiting for him to get racing. You can see them all stacking up behind. The further back in line you are, Dave, the harder it is to judge when the leader's going to go.
That's definitely here. You can see a little strategy going to come and play when he gets into that start zone. Is Connor going to wait till the last, or is he going to get right on the loud pedal? That's the question.
I think away we go. It was a bit of a gradual roll back up to speed there, but hasn't broken away. Not seeing side by side behind him either, and that is going to be frustrating. It allows Dane Culver to have a look, but not really alongside. We'll come to the end of lap 10. 8 laps left to go then, and Connor Barry's 3-odd second advantage shrunk by the competition caution. Luke Knupp under pressure from the Terminator behind, and remember, the last thing he wants to do here, Dave, is drop some more positions.
Yeah, definitely. He's got to stay clean there. You don't want to take yourself out. You got to stay consistent there. And the problem is Rafis and Swain, you know, these guys are battling it out there. It's going to be tough when those trucks go door to door. Not a lot of places on this track in a Sport 3 wide.
That great camera shot from off far just shows you how much elevation there is for these drivers to contend with down to that gravel pit. It's Swain putting the pressure on to Dane Culver, though. I'm getting that feeling that Connor Barry's already extended the margin enough at this point that he's not too worried about looking behind. Keaton Swain around the outside. Dane Culver tight around Calamity Corner, just trying to eke every bit of speed that he can out of his machine.
Yeah, definitely he is. He's trying to get that. He's probably pushing that pedal right through the bottom of his sim right now, trying to find that extra mile an hour.
A little look at the replay, because there's been some chaos a little further behind on their run down to Calamity Corner. Maybe no surprise it happens here, but it's for poor Trenton Briley. You can see they're all tangled up in front. Zachary Drapkin had already gone around and was pointed in the wrong direction. And, well, poor Briley ends up stranded on his roof. Not much he could do. What happened to the Red Line All 56 car? You can just see in front. That's the 9 machine of Cody Winicki getting a little bit stuck, and from there the chaos ensues. Back with the live pictures, and Dave, Luke Knupp under fire.
Yeah, and you can see that's what happened to Trenton Briley. Crawled over the top of him and sent him into the pits. But back out front, you can see the 3 top drivers have split away. Knupp still batting back there with Rafis, and it looks like Tyson Miller also trying to force a little error there on Luke Knupp.
Terminator's already gained 6 positions from where he started. Remember, we had the only 2-car invert today as opposed to the 8 machine invert that we had yesterday. Again, that's totally random and randomized for each of the rounds. Front of the field, Connor Barry's calm. Is he going to feel the pressure from Keaton Swain and Dane Culver, though? Back to the line, 5 more laps to go.
And on board with Keaton Swain, you can see them leading right in front of him. There's Dane Culver. Dane now starting to try to get up on the inside there of Connor Barry. Connor's, though, keeping that preferred middle line, keeping it fast, keeping it tight. You can see that's just, the traction zone. You can just see Dane can't really increase his speed any. I mean, Connor's just hitting his marks.
He's doing exactly what he needs to do at the front of the field right now. Control. Look how close that Culver gets. You can see eyes darted to the right there for a second for Dane Culver, because Trenton Briley leaves pit lane. He'll let the field slide on through and rejoin, albeit 2 laps down, trying to salvage what he can. Same thing has happened for Christopher Plumley. Every point these drivers can get, Dave, up and down through the field. It's great to see they persevere and try and get a result.
Oh, absolutely. And persevering is what it takes here in short course for sure. You can't give up because somebody makes a mistake and totally change that. So you got to keep on keeping on.
And look how Dane Culver keeping on the fight. We have 4 to go, next time by. And I think at this point, Jacob Rafos a little bit too far back. Luke Knupp still fighting to try and get past the young Rafos. But it's momentum. That's what we talk about sometimes in championship fights. Knupp's going to bully his way on forward, at least momentarily. Still side by side through turn number 1. But you can tell there's some desperation here trying to make his way forward.
Yeah, Rafos wasn't going to sit there lightly and let him get by. He's going to door him right back. And that's, going to keep that truck to the inside. That inside line is the key. This is just all, basically you got one right-hander all left.
And I wonder what that actually means in terms of the setup of the car. I've never really thought about it like that, but I'm guessing maybe you want the car to be a bit turns better left than turns right, given how much more that you're going to have to do it. Something that, we talk about a bit more maybe on like the oval side of things, but you have those sort of crossover things.
Well, if they ever bring Wheatland in, they're going to have a few more right turns there, or, it's crazy. I'm sorry, left turns. They got, at least 4 of them. A lot of these drivers, all their courses, it's usually just a couple, 1 or 2 lefters.
Oliver Golding,
Dennis. It looks like Knupp. Oh.
Oliver Golding and Dennis Mickelson are fighting down in the field, but while Luke Knupp and Jacob Rafos continue to fight, Dave, we're going to head on to the final lap of this race with Connor Barry, Dane Culver, and Keaton Swain still only split by around 7/10 of a second, but I think Dane Culver's just been waiting. He's going to try something surely as we get ready to head on to the white flag.
It looks like our cameraman got a little lost there as we look up the inside. Dane Culver, and now we're back on Rafos and Luke Knupp. But look at this. Is that Winnicki looking up the inside of him?
Winnicki's there, Miller's dropped to the tail end, and all this in the fight for 4th, 5th, and 6th positions. Front of the field, Connor Barry is going to see the move be attempted momentarily by Dane Culver. It's a half-hearted attempt, though. It's not really the full commitment. Both drivers, the look on the face, and for Dane Culver, tongue sticking out.
Looking for the slide job to the inside of Barry. He's going to push Barry high, try and take away that inside if he can get that crossover. But Barry is not going to back off. He's going to hold and protect that inside. Keep that nose tight. And look at this. Dane Culver found daylight and makes the pass. And Keaton Swain, I'm going to get a 2-for-1 there.
My word, another first-time winner in the week of the doubleheader.
Wow.
It's the championship statement from Dane Culver that he's there to fight for 3rd, and the emotion, what we wanted to see. Oh, back-to-back days, Dave, we get to see the drivers enjoying their time on victory lane.
Oh, man, now we have 3 different winners. That is or 4 different winners. Absolutely awesome to see. I mean, what a good job by Dane Culver. But how about Keaton Swain squeezing it out at the last minute?
That's what short course is all about. We'll grab a look at the results, and then I cannot wait to have a chat with the drivers and catch up with what I'm sure is going to be a delighted Dane Culver. Adds his name to the list of just 12 drivers that have won in the iRacing Short Course National Series. Keaton Swain down in 2nd. Makes his way on forward in a valuable points battle as well. Connor Barry, you could tell he was slightly dejected, but 3rd in front of Luke Knupp. Margin still extended in the championship lead. 5th for the young Jacob Rafos, who got a monster start, let's not forget. Might feel somewhat frustrated, all things considered, with Tyson Miller, Cody Winnicki, Matthew Lindy, and then Nicholas Dachelet and Thad Countryman, your top 10. Only 8 or 9 seconds through the field. And then Oliver Golding, Crystal King, Dennis Mickelson, Sean Winkler, and Zachary Drapkin, your top 15. I'm sure Drapkin going to be slightly disappointed, especially seeing where Culver and Swain finish, but he's at least on the lead lap. Cross Kirchmeier, Christopher Plumley, and Trenton Briley all scored as 1 lap down. I don't even know if Dane Culver quite knew that was going to happen. He tried it, he went for the move, and it stuck. We're ready to chat, though, with our race winner. I hope he's ready to unmute himself as well, because as soon as he does so, we can catch up with him. He's standing by with Dave Arnold.
Dane Culver, knuckles up, buddy. I'll tell you, what an impressive run you had there. The tongue must have been the magic key there. But I'll tell you, we saw you working on Connor, trying to set him up through the turns. What was going through your mind? Did you have that corner picked out?
No, I didn't really know that was going to happen. I thought he was going to end up guarding really well there. I didn't know that he dropped back another position. I thought the contact wasn't that bad. Sorry, Connor. I don't know if that was net code, but I didn't feel like I hit him that hard. It felt fine to me, but I'm sorry. That was a pretty intense race. My adrenaline is like crazy. I think I get more adrenaline from sim racing than real life.
Well, was there a point in your mind where you're thinking, okay, he's going a little wide here, he's going a little wide there? Was there a point, okay, I'm going to try and set him up on one of the turns? I know you weren't expecting this one, but you were there anticipating, and what is it? You saw daylight and you just went for it?
I wasn't really expecting to try and pass him. I thought he was actually going to kind of run away because Keaton Swain was putting a lot of heat on me. But I was able to kind of stay with him, and then I was able to follow his lines. Then I was able to kind of catch him, and then I was like, okay, maybe we have a shot. And then the last lap, I wasn't even really trying to pass him. I was just trying to put pressure on him because usually, I mean, I know in real life, whenever I was behind him, he wasn't really phased. Because, you know, me, Luke, Connor, we've all raced each other in real life. And it was just exciting. And then, you know, the last corner, I saw you go for it. And I kind of stepped on it. I knew I was going to rub him a little bit, but I didn't know it was going to send him. I don't really know what happened. I thought it was just clean. And it looked like it was just a little bit of door bang, but I'll go look it back.
Well, we've seen the improvements from last year to this year. Are you getting a little bit more confident there? Is that helping now, especially with this win?
This is actually my first year. I wasn't allowed to race regionals. Yeah, so this is actually my rookie season. But, I mean, you know. Yeah, from last year before I was racing, I was watching everyone else racing. I was just practicing a lot, and I was able to kind of get on their pace. And then it was kind of a fresh restart with the car change and the updates and stuff. So, you know, it kind of gave us a little bit of an advantage. I do all my setup work myself, so yeah, I mean, it's an accomplishment. It's a booster for sure.
Well, I got to say congratulations to you, and I know you probably want to thank some people for this P1 win.
Yeah, Angelic's Beauty, that's my sponsor. Knuckles Up Racing, Essinger Engineering. That's about it for the sim racing. There's so much more out there that are in real life and stuff. My adrenaline's so crazy, I can't even read it all. But, you know, thanks for all the support, everyone.
Well, good job, young man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dane Culver taking the win. And I do believe Arjuno standing with second place.
And we're joined now by Keaton Swain. Keaton, what was going through your mind heading through those final couple of corners, seeing the move attempted in front of you and, well, followed your way on forward and grabbed a second place finish here today?
Yeah, it was a lot similar to how Wild West was last week. It's kind of three people with a shot to win there. And this time, though, I didn't. I think my truck had a little bit too much damage there, and I was just not able to close in quite as much as I would have liked to. But somehow I was able to squeak by Connor there at the end and get second, which is great. You know, I was okay with third, but to get another spot is always good.
Never complain about a spot, I guess, in racing. We've got 2 more rounds to go. Of course, next week we've got another one of the Triple Crown races at Wild Horse Pass. Talk us through how you're feeling that fight for third in the championship, especially with Dane winning here today. It's still very, very close. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, next week's going to be a free-for-all with 3 races at Wild Horse. Anything can happen there. So it's just going to be who can be the most consistent and who can stay out of the most trouble there. And that's what we're going to try and do, because we got to try and make up a couple points here to try and get third back in the points.
One question before we let you go, Keaton. Obviously, this being the short layout at Crandon, it's a very left turn dominated track. We were kind of wondering, does that influence the setup? Do you kind of get it to rotate a little bit more freely in one direction than the other?
I don't set my truck up like that. I'm sure some people do, but yeah, I just run a conventional, like a road course style setup where it's neutral to either side. So yeah, I don't do anything particular to make it turn better left.
Okay, well, I can't blame that then. You're doing things normal. Okay, that's not where I'm slow. Congratulations, Keaton, on second. We'll see you next week in the Triple Crown event.
Thank you.
And one final chat, Connor Barry standing by with Dave Arnold.
Connor Barry, man, what a crazy race. You pretty much, the first half of the race, you dominated. The second half of the race, you had a lot of company.
Yeah, it definitely was good. We qualified the second spot, which was good. We put in a ton of work for this race. because we got our butts whooped a day ago. So our goal was to come here and win. We got third, but it's fine. So we extended the points, which is good. And then now we're going into the track where I feel good at. So we didn't get first, but it's all right. We led the first half and we were a bullet. And then the second half, it was just a battle. It was hard to get away just because of the hits. But it's all right because this is the short course and we just got beat. So it is all right. We got third and I will take that with 2 to go. So it's gonna be a battle, but I'm glad that we were able to get back on the box and third after a very bad day. So
well, I know it tends to light a fire under the keister.
Yeah,
when you get a little whoop like that. But the question I have here is coming into that last lap, and you got Dane Culver who's starting to work on you. When you came into that Calamity corner there, did you know you went a little wide? Or was it like, oh man, I just blew that corner? Was there a thought in your mind, or oh, I'm okay, you didn't see Dane?
The biggest thing was being like smart. I knew that he was going to go for first, and being in his spot is definitely the better spot, just because you're able to make a battle with you actually trying it. So where I could only just go to the bottom, and I thought that I was good, but we were a tad bit high, and he got under. But I knew that he was trying to go for first, as he is in a battle as his own and third. So my goal was just to be smart and not be on my side. And I wish that we got first, but it's all right. We got third, and it was a battle, and it was fun. So yeah.
Well, I know you just wanted to finish on a Luke, and you did that there. But as we know, you don't have to win every race. It's consistency that wins championships.
Yep, exactly. And we qualified P2, so we got some points in that. Then we went and won the heat, and then we got the whole shot. So we definitely gained some, and now we're going into the track where I've only have 5 starts there in this series, and I won all 5. So I hope to go for 6 for 6 and go into Crandon with a cap.
Well, I know hopefully momentum is on your side, but I know so many people behind you that make this possible, and I know it's time to give them some love.
For sure. A big thanks to CBR, General Tire, my teammates. We put in a lot of work. We built a setup that was something we haven't ever done before. So I would say it was good, as we were a bullet. So yeah, a big thanks to them, and then a big thanks to you and Arjuna for the stream, and we will see you again in a week.
Congratulations, Connor Berry, and I do believe that's going to wrap it up here.
In terms of the post-race coverage, almost there. Let's take a quick look and a talking point about the championship, because I think Connor did mention it briefly there, Dave. He still has the lead. It's a 5-point difference between Barry and Knupp. Next week, Triple Crown format. That means 3 main event races, effectively. 150-odd points up for grabs. Knupp and Barry have split the victories so far. Next week's going to go a long way into setting up how that final round of the season, which cannot be dropped in terms of the championship story, is going to end up playing out.
Well, it's going to be definitely incredible. And of course, we're going to move on to Wild Horse Pass next week. And of course, we talked about earlier in the night, we're going to have 1 week off, and then the final to the long Crandon and all the fun that Crandon brings at the Bit House.
if today was a bull ring, Dave, what are we in for when we go to Wild Horse Pass? That, of course, very short in its length, quite tight in its nature as well. And if fiberglass was flying today, I'm assuming it's going to be flying next Wednesday as well.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, that's Luke Knupp's home track. But like Connor said, he has yet to be defeated there.
And we've got some excitement to come all as we set up for that championship showdown. Hope you'll join us here on RaceBot TV. But for the team behind the scenes, for the admins, for Cam Obernon on social media, and for Dave Arnold alongside myself, Arjuna Kangipati, thank you so much for joining us. Cannot wait to go racing for that Triple Crown next Wednesday. A double-header week in which the dominant forces, Connor Barry and Luke Knupp, end up seeing two new winners emerge. For Dane Culver and for Trenton Briley, momentum on their side with 2 rounds left to go in the iRacing Short Course National Series for 2024. We'll see you next time. For now, so long and goodbye.